Hello everyone and welcome to Long's Toys. I have another Power Rangers movie review for you today. This is the Pterodactyl Battle Zord with Pink Ranger. This is the fifth and final Zord for the Megazord that I have to review here. So during this video you'll get to see the fully complete, everything attached Megazord from the upcoming movie, which I have to say I think looks pretty awesome. You can see here it comes with a little Pink Ranger figure, and it does show that the wings go on the back of the Megazord. But you also get a cool little putty. So it's kind of our first good look at the putty from the upcoming movie. And it has kind of a, let's see if you can see this here, but it says, capture the putty villain. So if you take a look in the back, you can see up here that the little claws underneath of the pterodactyl apparently can grab and drop the putty. So we'll take a look at that. But I like the design of the Zord. I think it kind of looks more like a futuristic kind of jet fighter or something, but I still think it looks really awesome. Pink Ranger can ride in the canopy. And then, of course, you have the 5 Zords pictured here, and then the Megazord that they merge into, which is absolutely massive, but we'll take a look at that. So, pretty cool open packaging, just like the rest of the Zords. We'll go ahead, get it out of the packaging, and take a closer look. So here's the Pterodactyl Zord out of the packaging, and the first thing you just do is snap the wing on. Really simple, nice clips, and you just pop it right on like this. You line it up, and it snaps on nice and secure. So yeah, I like it. Like I said, I think it kind of looks more like a futuristic jet than a pterodactyl, but I really like the design. I love the color gray they used. It goes great with the pink and the kind of metallic-y blue here for the cockpit. I really like the design of this Zord. The 2 figures they come with, first up we have the little putty. I really like their design. It kind of reminds me of a mummy, but I assume it's supposed to be just like a, a clay monster, so everything's kind of gelling and dripping, and he's, just made of clay come to life. It's a really neat design. Unfortunately, it really can't stand on its own, and I think it's just because of the way its feet are. Because he's kind of leaning forward, all his weight is to his right side, which has the one leg back. So all his weight is to this unsupported area, so he just falls forward every time. He does have arm articulation all the way around for both arms, and I really do like the design. It's just kind of a bummer. If they would have had his legs stagger the other way, so that he was leaning toward the leg that was in the front, I feel like he could stand, but they didn't, so he just falls over every time. Unfortunately, the Pink Ranger is not really any better. The legs for the girls are very skinny, and for some reason she really wants to lean to the right, or her right, I should say. And it just makes her fall over. I'm not sure if one leg is shorter than the other. I don't think so. I mean, either way, it's a great figure. Nice paint for the visor and the helmet, and then the diamond on the chest. A lot of nice molded detail. Same articulation as the other figures, where the arm can go around and the legs can go front to back. So it's a great little figure. It's just kind of a bummer she doesn't stand very well. Yeah, I don't know. Neither of these really stand that well. I also think it's kind of neat how, I mean, the putty is at least 1.5 times as tall as she is. And that would go for any of the Rangers, because all the little Ranger figures are about the same. So if they're fighting these putties as foot soldiers, they're probably going to have their work cut out for them if this is the actual size ratio, because they're pretty huge in comparison. But both of these figures are really neat. I'm glad that the putty was included. Taking a look again at the Zord, there's not really any articulation. It's pretty much a solid piece. This does open up, and that's the cockpit. And then you can go ahead and sit the Ranger inside. Very simple there. And it just folds down. Doesn't really click into place or anything. And you can kind of see her in there because the back's open. But still very cool. How the kind of grabbing claw action works. You can see the claws of the pterodactyl. And this whole section, you just grab a hold of this right here. It just pulls back. It's just one solid piece that just pulls back and has a spring. So it goes right back. So you just kind of grab it. And I'll see if I can get this to stand for long enough to show you how this works. Probably not. Do I have something maybe I could have him lean against? Maybe. Just trying to think of something to... Well, in any case, if he would stand, you could come and grab him. And I'll just put him in here. And the spring-loaded gimmick would grab a hold of him. So you can pop him in there. And then if you want to just release him, just pull back. And he can drop out. So you could do that with anything. I mean, if you have like a Lego minifigure or something. Come by. Grab him. Swoop off. Drop him. So I think that's fun. I think it's a very simple. Kids will love it because it works really well. They can come along and grab something and then drop it very easily. Ooh, and then this whole piece can fall off. So be aware that that can happen. This is the front of the claws, the piece that's not connected to this. As you can see, it just plugs right back in there. So if yours should happen to fall out, you can plug it right back in. No problem. But yeah, otherwise it can kind of sit on those feet, and then it kind of balances on the beak as kind of a tripod. But I really like the design of the Pterodactyl. I think they did a great job with it. Both figures that come with it are really fun. And the little pincer grabber claw feature I think is a lot of fun as well. So I went ahead and just popped off the torso T-Rex section of the Megazord just to show you how this combines. I thought it would be easier to keep it in frame. And then once we have it connected to this, I'll go ahead and pop it back on the Megazord and show you the whole thing in all its glory. But the first thing you're going to do very simply is just pop the wings off at this seam right here. And you're going to do that on both sides. And then this will actually become a sword. And you can just put that off to the side for now. And then you're going to bring the torso in and spin it around 180 degrees. And you can see that there's these two big slits right here on the back. And you can see that there's this piece right here on both wings. And that's very simply just going to plug on like that. But one thing we can do, which I think is really cool, if you remember these pieces that were left over from the T-Rex and have just kind of been sitting around all this time, you can actually connect them to the wings in two different ways. So the first thing you can do, if you'd like, is you can see that there's a big peg hole right here. You can put this big peg, oops, I have the wrong one. You can put that big peg in there, and it kind of blends in as part of the wing. So when you look at it from the front, it's just kind of on there, and the curve actually meets pretty well with the curve of the Pterodactyl wing. And then it just kind of looks like you have 1, 2, 3 things sticking up. The other thing you can do is disconnect it. Well, you should be able to disconnect it. There we go. You'd have to actually bring in the opposite one. But you can see here how it has this kind of connection that fits right there. And you can plug it into the front for some extra firepower. And that way, when it's mounted on, you can have those two connectors facing forward. So first, I'm going to show you like that because I kind of think that that's a really neat feature. So you're going to plug these in, just as I showed you, by putting this big piece into this connection right here. Get that all lined up and pop that in. And then I'm going to spin this all the way around. And there you go. Let me move this up a smidge. So that's with the wings attached with the guns facing forward, which I think is a really cool look. It's a really neat way to get a little bit extra firepower, especially for like a final attack or something. And these are both just the same flick fire missiles from before. And I did check, these orange missiles that come with the T-Rex are exactly the same as the orange missiles that come with the Triceratops. So they're exact same missiles. So then if you want, you can take these off. They're a little tight, but they do come off. And then you can go ahead and pop them back in these peg holes in the back here for storage. So I think that's really neat. I also really like how you can see that the color and the pink from the head is clearly meant to accompany the wings. And I wouldn't be surprised if in the movie the head comes from the Pterodactyl instead of the T-Rex. I think for the toy's sake, it was easier to store this head in the body of the T-Rex. But I think in the movie, this will come from the pterodactyl just because the motif, the color scheme, all flows together with the pterodactyl. I really like the look of it. I think these wings on the back look fantastic. I've always thought that the pterodactyl wings were kind of wasted in the kind of chest plate of the original Megazord. So I was really excited to see them here as wings. So he has a really neat, winged angel kind of look for a Megazord. I think it looks really, really cool. So now let's go ahead and get this guy joined up with the Megazord so we can see the whole thing in its magnificent splendor. So this thing is absolutely massive, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. It's roughly about 2 feet tall. It's slightly taller than Titan's Return Fortress Maximus, if that gives you any kind of size comparison. You can see it has 2 shoulder-mounted cannons, and then it has 2 different bladed sword melee weapons. And I really love the look of the wings on the back. And you even have some missile firepower up there. So this thing definitely is ready for battle. It's got all kinds of weaponry. I think they did a great job with the finished product. Each Zord on its own is really nice. And they all look fantastic merged together for a really massive and impressive giant Megazord. So I think this is a really cool Zord. I really like the design of the pterodactyl. I think the color scheme is really neat. And the little capture claw talons is a fun little gimmick. It's not perfect, but I think kids will really enjoy it, and I think it's fun. Really, both of the figures that come with it are nice. It's a shame that neither one can really stand on their own without me propping them up against something. But they are really nice little figurines. I think they're pretty good detail and articulation for their size. It's just a shame that they can't stand on their own, but the Ranger figures for these Megazords, Zords in general, I should say, really turned out well, in my opinion. I think they did a nice job. They have just the right amount of paint, detail, and articulation, and I've been happy with all 5 of them. The putty, I think, is really neat. Definitely gives me a mummy feel, but I really do like the design of it, and I'm interested and excited to see it in the movie because I'm sure it'll look even better on screen. So I absolutely recommend all 5 of these Zords. The Megazord looks fantastic. All 5 of them are fun in their own right. I don't really have anything to complain about. I think they're pretty awesome, and I definitely highly recommend them. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like and share this video, and please subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Pterodactyl Battle Zord with Pink Ranger from the upcoming Power Rangers movie. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching.